what the Baltimore Bridge disaster means for national security. Reverberations will be felt across the globe because of this. By Rob Manis, Real Clear Wire. The Port of Baltimore is closed until further notice following the Francis Scott Key Bridge tragedy, sending several industries into disarray and jeopardizing national security. In 2023, the port handled a record amount of international cargo, ranked 9th for both dollar value and tonnage in the United States. Vital for both imports and exports of a variety of commodities, the Port of Baltimore has always had international significance, and the impact of its closure will be wide-ranging and long-term for the supply chain in the United States and beyond. Given the seriousness of this issue, Congress must come together to provide the funding to clean up the debris, reopen the channel, and rebuild the bridge. Having 3 decades of experience in the United States military with foreign affairs and national security issues, the writer says, I can safely say that the reverberations of the disaster will be felt across the globe. The repercussions with regard to energy security are a specific concern and must be addressed. Domestically, the impacts of these hiccups in the energy supply chain are already being felt. CSX's Curtis Bay piers in particular, heavily impacted by the bridge collapse, supplies coal and power to Maryland electric grid and provides metallurgical coal critical for the steel industry. The inability to ship energy supplies from this terminal has created a ripple effect in both sectors. A warning from the Energy Information Administration, EIA, meanwhile, that the bridge collapse and subsequent impact to the port will slow the growth of the U.S. Coal exports to our allies has also weakened the supply chain of growing importance. International demand for American coal has been on the rise in the past few years due to Europe's tightening energy supply, low natural gas reservoirs, and conflict in the region, as many countries like Ukraine turned elsewhere to get their energy commodities. As the second largest export hub for coal in the United States, accounting for nearly 1/3, that's 28% of total exports in 2023, the Port of Baltimore has helped meet that demand. And while most of the coal exported from the Port of Baltimore was historically destined for locations outside of Europe, it has increasingly been finding its way to countries on the continent, dealing with rising Russian aggression, providing them an alternative to forced reliance on Russian energy supplies. But with the port's unspecified closure and reopening timelines, American allies around the world may be forced to turn back to Vladimir Putin and Russia and his cronies. This will give Russia undue power, in Europe in particular, which has historically relied heavily on Russian imports of coal, oil, and natural gas. China's rise in efforts to use energy and infrastructure connections to extend their reach and influence around the world have also been a growing concern for years now. Its Belt and Road Initiative includes significant investments in energy infrastructure across Asia, Africa, and Latin America, and has been used to extend its influence by becoming a partner in meeting these regional energy needs. The disruption in the flow of energy resources that has occurred as a result of the Port of Baltimore's indefinite closure could subsequently force some U.S. allies to seek alternative supplies, and with the country's coal output hitting record highs in 2023, it may provide an opening for the communist country to further assert itself on the world stage. Energy independence and security means having enough energy to meet demand, as well as protecting power stations and infrastructure from physical attacks and cyber threats. Given these facts, the U.S. should be focused on bolstering the resiliency of its own energy supply, as well as strengthening connections with allies who are also concerned about the rise of Chinese and Russian influence around the world, by prioritizing the restoration of the Port of Baltimore. This will not only restore a vital link in the nation's energy supply chain, but also signal to adversaries that the United States is committed to safeguarding its infrastructure and, by extension, its ability to act freely on the international stage. Maryland Governor Wes Moore recently highlighted the need for quick cleanup, noting that we need to make sure we're actually moving quickly to get the American economy going again, because the Port of Baltimore is instrumental in our larger economic growth. Given the domino effects of this continued closure, most specifically to national security and energy independence across the globe, leaders in Washington must come together to quickly clean up and repair access to the port, obviously. And this is by Rob Manessy, retired colonel, founder of Iron Liberty Group. This is published from Real Clear Defense, and it's on WND. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.